A story as old as the world, they say. Hmm. Like, I don't really need to focus on that. Clean it up. The rainfall. Like the rain should. So it really. Well, I made a little impromptu video the other day. I don't know why, but I did. It just kind of hit me like, you have to do this. So I said, okay. Like everything else in my goddamn life. And it was memories. And it was very interesting because I don't know how to explain this, man. I really don't. And so this is how I know that this is my style of storytelling. I felt like, hey, put that song to a video. And I thought, okay, well, let's just do that. And why don't you just kind of go with it? And it was only until after halfway through, like the third pass of rewatching it and kind of, putting this here, putting that there, kind of straightening it out, did I realize it was a story. One of 4 people. And the story of these 3 guys on that video helping me navigate my life. So it's like I've grown up. I really wish I had more videos of us from when we were younger, but I didn't, we weren't like walking around like, let's record ourselves, it wasn't like that back in the day. People didn't just walk around recording themselves all the time. So I only have videos of the past few years. But anyway, in my mind as I rewatch, I'm like, wow, this is a story of a guy lost in his mind, wandering this dead forest as these other guys are navigating, helping him get out. And I was like, this is so clever, I didn't even notice it. And there's parts where, I would say Billy and me went into the forest together and walked it. The other guys helped me decipher it sitting in this office. Do you know what I mean? Like, I didn't notice that it was like a story. It was a kind of like the life that I lived. And these people helped me get out of it, or at least try to. Like, the video doesn't end with me getting free of the forest. It ends with me seeing a great obstacle ahead. There was a big lake in the way. So, and that's kind of where I feel now. That part of my life is over. These guys, they'll be in my life. It's not like, oh, they're going away forever. But we're officially kind of going off into our own worlds, our own kind of lives. And we're not always going to be there for each other every single day like we were when we were kids. We hung out all the time and stuff. And also the song we called Memories, how they fade away. I thought that was just so terribly clever. I really wish I could say like, oh yeah, like I sat down and thought of all that before I made the video. Like, no, I didn't. It just kind of happened that way. Something about the way, like I was saying, for me, storytelling is me trusting the will of myself, God, and the task at hand. I just, no thoughts, let's go. By the time I'm involved in it, I start to see the world around me. Oh, this is what the story's about. I gotcha, You charge in first, and then you start to count the bodies after the battle's over, and then say, okay, so now we know who our enemy is. So I didn't really. It was just interesting to really look at it that way. And in my life, those 3 guys were the biggest influence on me. They really helped me find myself in their own different way. Our friendships with Kevin and Billy began in 2012. And it was Jacob around 2000, I'm going to say 14 or 15. 2014 actually. So I've been friends with these guys for a while. Not the longest time, but most of my 20s I've known these guys. And they've really helped me find myself in their own way. Like, we grew together. Like, we've all had our own struggles, our own battles. We've all had our own bullshit that we're fucking dealing with, and trying to overcome this weird barrier. Each one of us has it their own. And it's totally unique to that person. And with each other, we've all just supported each other. You know, like, there have been times, and it's very rare, but there have been times where we would call each other out on something. But for the most part, we let each other discover our own truth. We don't allow ourselves to get mad at, because that's like the common trope that, you know, as friendships, you're supposed to yell at them and tell them what they should do and shouldn't do because you see the potential in them and they won't do it. Like, yes, that can be a thing, but that's kind of like a trope thing. It isn't always necessarily true. What I've seen those guys struggle with, I'm seeing them overcome it and they're figuring it out. So I never really need to say any words because I knew that they would. I was like, well, they're gonna, why wouldn't they? They're intelligent. They're not gonna give up. I can already tell. I know these guys. They won't give up. If anything, it's gonna be me the one that gives up before they do. That's something that, you know, I didn't really ever need to say to them, but in my life, how I feel is when I do go home alone, and I am here by myself a lot, and I'm alone a lot, and I'm always dwelling and thinking and dwelling and thinking, and when and those moments for me are being lost in the woods, are being lost in the dead forest, wandering and wandering and wandering. And there'll be time when they come in my life, you know, when they enter, and then let's hang out, or let's go do something, let's blah blah blah, let's do this, that. They bring me out of that and kind of recenter me and try to help me navigate. Give me, you know, they're the compass to my life. And it's very interesting, and just seeing everything that we've been through, like just, you know, replaying it in my mind, which is another thing that song does. Again, I really wish I could have older footage so you could see us growing, but when I think back about all the things that we've seen together and done, and the little fights we might have had, I don't really remember a whole lot of fights. I think I've had one with Jacob and maybe a disagreement with Billy, but I don't really remember us ever fighting. Not like outright yelling at each other. I don't remember that ever happening. But like, as I look back and just see everything that happened to us, it really makes me feel, man, these people are in your life for a reason. And when I look at what I do with the book, and this book is just a representation of me trying to find myself. And the fact that they are willing to, like, yeah, I'll jump in there too. I'll jump in, I'll help you find yourself. You need help, I will help you. The fact that they're doing that is amazing. You know what I mean? Like, they're just like, yeah, I can get you, I can help you navigate. In my head, it's like Jacob and Kevin will be willing to jump into this with me. But when I hang out with Billy, it's like getting me out of that, pulling me out and saying, you know, here you are. You're not in that, you're here. It's very interesting. You know, I do believe in the Trinity, whatever you want to call it that. I believe in the power of three. I know it's a Celtic thing and it turned into a Christian thing, because why wouldn't it have? But I believe that there's these three people, these three messengers, these three guiding spirits, or whatever the fuck some other faith says. I just think that they are here to help me, to teach me something. You know, and if I may teach them something, I hope that would be, I kind of want to teach people something too, but you don't know what you teach people until they tell you. Because you don't set out like, I'm going to make sure that they know this, I'm going to make sure they know that, and if they do this, they need to know that. I don't think that way, so I don't know if I've taught them anything, showed them anything in return. I'm assuming so. Why would they hang out with me if that's the case? But I just know for me, they taught me a lot. And how to be a person, and how to, like, what we battle with is how to be a man. Maybe not outwardly, where we sit and always discuss it, but it's something in our lives that we work on. And I know that because I see it. Like, how can I be the best man that I can be? In what way? Because we're also vastly different. Vastly different. We've all had such fucking crazy different lives. From childhood to adulthood and on. Like, the only bond that we share is the one when we're together. That togetherness is where friendships are formed, And us being in this world, this realm, whatever the fuck you want to call it, and deciphering everything around us and finding our own, like our own thing, like our understanding, our own realization, our own journey and path. Like, when we all report back to each other about our findings, it only helps the other person all the more. You know what I mean? Like, we all explore a different aspect of this world, and together, man, it feels like one great person. If I were to get all of us in a room, we bring together each individual spirit of ourself into one entity. I mean, that's the whole fucking point of my book. That's the whole aspect and idea of the Forgotten King. Is just like all these fractal elements. Thank you, Jacob, for this realization. All these fractal elements need to be put back together again. And that's what, like, this friendship is. And Kevin and Billy knew each other years before they met me. And then it was me, Kevin, and Billy, we would hang out. So, like, they knew each other in high school. I met them after they got out of the Marines, and then we hung out for a certain amount of years. I met Jacob over here on my own. I introduced Jacob to Kevin, and you can see that they know each other now, but Jacob's never met Billy. They know about each other. They know each other exists, but they've never met. That's the interesting thing. The only time we're ever going to be together is at my wedding, because they're all three going to be there. That's the first time they're all of my friends will be united. You know what I mean? And I thought, like, man, I should say something about, like, how much they mean to me, what they've helped me do, and how special they are. I should say something to them, but I'm like, there's no way. I'm going to cry. There's no way I can. I mean, just thinking about it now makes me want to cry. There's no way I could do that. I can't. I'm just in, like, as a disclaimer, I cry very easily. I'm a very emotional person. Can't help it. Always was. Never really wanted to be. That's just my lot in life. I will cry in front of strangers. So I was like, man, I really wish I could just publicly say something to all of them about how much they mean to me, what they've done, things like that. But there's no way I could do it. I can't even barely do it now. I'm trying to like talk about doing it and I'm getting emotional. I can't even imagine like, okay, and this is why. I don't think I could do it. I think it's just because when you think about people don't have to, you know what I mean? They don't have to help you, hang out with you, be your friend. There's no rule. There's no law. It's not like, yeah, like, I gotta go do this. You know what I mean? It's because you want to. Now, for me, for whatever reason, someone wanting to do something with me, I have a really hard time handling that. Like someone like I want to hang out with you. I want to work on this with you. I want to hear what you feel or think or say. For whatever reason, that's the most magical thing to me. And I think it's because when I was young, I didn't think anyone would give a shit, right? So now it's like bigger. But yeah, now I look back and think the fact that they wanted to be there in some way, shape, or form is what means the most. And the fact that they chose, each one of them, to help me through the darkest part of my life. And it was only natural for me to return the favor. And believe me, man, when you've seen people through like their absolute darkest, where they're like just barely any hope, right? You make sure that you really try to help them through that any way that you possibly can. I can't tell you like what I did to help. I know I was there with them, my friends, in their dark times. I don't know what I did, I don't have an ego about that, so I'm not like, yeah, you know what I said? I told them this. People like that sometimes, I swear. But anyway, I can't even imagine. I told them to fucking kick rocks, It's so fucked up when people are like that. But, I don't remember what I did, is what I'm trying to say. I'm just kidding. You know what I told him? I can't imagine somebody like that. He was having a real hard time, and it was just real bad. And what I fucking told him? I told him this. Like he's taking credit. Like, yeah, so I'm the one that saved him. Oh boy, there's a whole fucking thing to unpack with people like that. But anyway, I don't know what I did or said, but I do know I was there with them, and they have grown so much. It's crazy. We're all like adults now. It's weird, you know what I mean? Like I met them. I lost my childhood friends. They didn't die, but you know what I mean. Like they moved away, and this, and that. And then I became a loner in my becoming a man after high school. I didn't have friends, and it was Billy who really was the one I met first out of all the guys. He was the one that just came to work at the store with me on the night shift. In fact, all the guys I met from Bush's. Kevin didn't, he worked at Bush's at one point, but he came with Billy. But it was weird, like Bush's is really, like my fiance and my friends, like they're all, because of Bush's, we all went to Bush's together. But it was Billy that I met first, and we had, with him, and I don't know how to say this correctly, but I'll try. With him, I've always felt he was an equal. He was on the same level as me, and it wasn't a competition that I had with him like you would imagine. It was more like, well, fuck, he's doing, like, I have to be good too, kind of thing. I always felt that about him. He was the one that his opinion mattered the most to me. And his approval mattered the most. I would be like, I need to impress him. I need him to know, like an older brother, right? That's what the relationship was. Me and Billy, he's my older brother, and he's always looking out for everybody, and I always want to impress him. Me and Kevin, I feel like Kevin and me are just like these two guys that are of equal measure with each other, but we're both, like, he's my other older brother, but he's also, how do I word this? He's the one that'll always make me feel better about being myself. You know, I want to impress Billy. Kevin seems to want to always let me know who I am and just be there supporting. And with Jacob, it always feels like the younger brother who inspires me his way, who I'm trying to help in some sense, as much as he'll allow me to. But that's kind of our dynamic. I'm a middle child again. That's what it feels like with those guys. They've helped me so much, and it's not even like they said, like, all right, so I'm gonna sit you down, I'm gonna tell you how you can be better. And I want, again, it wasn't that, it was just by them living their lives. For the longest time, I would get so upset at the world, and I would blame everything because I was so naive to it. And I would get so mad when I didn't have that mentor in my life that sat me down and told me everything, like in the stories. I would get mad. I'm like, this is bullshit. Like, no one's, like, I never had a father figure that sat down and told me things. Everyone that I know just lives their life, and I have to what's the word? I have to kind of watch them and be my own mentor. And I would get so mad about that, from my childhood with my parents and then my other siblings and stuff. I would just feel like, fucking teach me something. Like, I thought this is what it was about. Like, you're supposed to sit me down and tell me what a man is, my father. Or you're supposed to say this, but I never got that. And so I had to kind of be my own mentor in that sense by just watching them. And then if you read the fucking book, it's pretty obvious. The way Eris thinks is, like, obviously the way I think. You know what I mean? Like, super retrospective and just like, let us watch his movements and see who he is. That's just who I am as a person. Why wouldn't it be the case? So with those guys, for the longest time, I just felt like they didn't necessarily, okay, like, here's what it is. But there were times where they did. And I don't know why. I never really thought, like, well, don't people want to teach each other? Like, what are we doing? But then I realized through the years that it's an incremental thing. It's, it's not these monumentous moments. Someone's going to sit you down in the prefaces, or whatever the fuck the word is, looking upon the valley of your next chapter. They're not going to, like, okay, like, watch out for the brackish water down there, or whatever shit. It was more like these small moments. Really teaching me about music. Kevin teaching me about, I would say, history and aspects of certain philosophical thought. And then Jacob teaching me with inner reflection and self, family ties, and philosophy and spirituality. Like, they all taught me something different. They're all super spiritual people and super intelligent. I would say they're all amazing philosophers, but the world's not going to know that. which is another reason why I want them on this channel sometimes. Like, I just want to show people these are intelligent. I always thought like when way back in the day, 2013, 14 or whatever, when we were still playing music, I remember when like great guitar players would come up. You know, yeah, Jimi Hendrix, and yeah, this guy and that guy, and I'd be like, I don't think so, man. I remember, I swear to God, I'm like, I think Billy's probably the best guitar player I've ever heard in my entire life. And people would look at me like, I don't know, I'm like, yeah, I swear to God, listen to the fucking music. It's one of the best guitar playing I've ever heard, hands down. And I know it might be blasphemous to a musician, but I'm like, Billy's way better than fucking Jimi Hendrix. I don't give a fuck. You know, like, I thought that. I really did. You know what I mean? Like, or, I just have a thing where I get really protective of people, and I put them on a pedestal in my mind, I'll be honest, where they're the greatest. You know, I'm like, well, if I'm hanging out with them, they must be the greatest. You know. But I do believe that these guys are the greatest people I've ever met. Ever. You know what I mean? Like, besides like my family and stuff. Outside of it, I grew up with this family around me, and then I was able to become an adult and push through this layer of my second family, my friends. I think it's the greatest people ever. There's like nobody better, and there never will be. And I know that, you know, as I watched that video, to watch that song, it was so fitting with the music. But when I watched it, I was like, you've got to experience times with these great people. You got to sit there and be in their world. Like, I always felt like these guys, I felt like they always invited me in. Come live my life with me for a little bit. To which I would. And I would sit there and live it with them. And then it would be over. Then I would go home. Be by myself again. Who am I? Who am I? They passively helped me on my journey to find who I am. I don't think I hope it's clear when on that music video. I hope it's fucking clear that I'm wandering alone in my mind, trying to figure out how to navigate it, and they're like the compass to my life. They're the ones that are just helping me, like, come on, man, like, go this way, or come on, like, this will help, that will, you know, in their own way. They're all willing to go into the darkness with me. That's pretty cool, man. That's really cool that you know people like that. There's like nothing better than knowing you have these people. You don't need a bunch of friends. You don't need like, well, I gotta have like a whole group of them and we have to have these interests and stuff. No, you don't. It's about the people that you meet and the people that see it with you. Like, man, what I want to tell those guys, and I met someone new too. I've never physically met this guy, but we text each other and stuff. What I want to tell them, I was like, you guys are like really cool just because of, I don't know how to word this. I really don't, and I don't know how to make it sound nice. The fact that they're struggling so hard to be the best that they can be, I think is the greatest thing that they ever could be. When I know parts of their life and they struggle and it's difficult and it's hard and there are times where they feel like giving up or falling or just like not knowing who the fuck they are, what they're into, what they can do, what's the best thing they can do for themselves, how can they be a good spouse, how can they, like all this shit. It makes me love them so much because of that fact that they're willing to just search and find and feel and search and find and feel, even if they don't think that's what they're doing. Like the new my newest friend, I would consider, that I just met, I told you I was reading some of his work that he sent me, and I was like, this is fucking way too perfect. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. It's actually already flawless. But when I was reading it and I was looking at some of the stories of his life, I was like, wow, what a great person. This is good. This is really good. Like, I don't know. I guess I need people in my life to inspire me, to make me like feel like I should be better. You know, if you're 100% honest with me and you're trying actively to be better, or actively trying to see if there's more to this world that you don't understand, I think I'm like, well, there's people that I gotta hang out with. Clearly. It's really interesting. People like that. The older I get, so far, the more I realize there's a lot of them out there. People aren't as rare as we think. Unless they are attracted to each other. Like moths to a light. I don't know. It's hard to say. You know, I don't know if there's a lot of them or if I'm finding them. Do you know what I mean? Or they're finding me. I can't say. Why is it that we meet the people that we meet and we have the bonds that we do? I don't fucking know. We could talk about that, but this video is already going too long to start that conversation. Yeah, it's as long as we're all honest with ourselves, and I really wanted to make this one where I just kind of began the conversation of my appreciation to the people that I love and care about. It's a good start. Like I said, I don't know how far I don't know if I can get really into it. I keep dancing around the periphery of what I want to say, but I don't think I can get there without crying. You know what I mean? I'm trying to like navigate. Like, I start talking about something where I get choked. I'm like, nope, we're gonna go over here a little bit. I'll tell them in person, obviously. They've all seen me fucking cry. They've all hugged me as I cried. You know what I mean? So it's like, it wouldn't be new. They know who I am. Like, okay, here he goes again. I just want you to know that. But yeah, I just thought like a video just talking about these guys and how much they mean to me. Hopefully they see it. That'd be cool. I just need them to know everything here. Just because I'm realizing more. We're not always going to be together. Though we met each other in the hardest points of our lives, we're not always going to be together. For one reason or another. Either someone passes away before another person moves on and they go down their road for the chapter of their life and maybe raise a family and this and that. Like, we're not always going to be right there together. But we'll always have memories with each other. And that song is my best way to encapsulate that with everything I have now. So as long as we know that we did have each other in our hardest times, and we were there, and going forward, though we may not see each other as much as we want to, we can always meet up and talk about, you know, what comes next, instead of looking back at what happened before. You know, I think that's what's important. That's the one thing that I think matters the most. Hopefully.
Show me how to get by. Show me now or say goodbye. Take away what's inside. Run away. No, I can't hide. inside. Run away, but I can't hide. I've got to know. I've got to know. I've got to know. I've got to know. So tell me now, tell me. I've got to know. Show me how to get by. Show me now, or say goodbye. Take away from inside. Run away, no, I can't hide. I've got to know. I've got to know. I've got to know. I've got to know. So tell me now, tell me. I've got to know. Show me how to get by. Show me now, or say